Okay, today we're talking with singer, songwriter, guitar playing extraordinaire, John Corabi. How are you doing today, John?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Feel like I'm doing a little better than you.
Oh, no. It's all good. Of course, John, you just recently released last November your new Unplugged album, and I'd like to talk with you a little bit about that. Are you happy with the way fans have been responding to the new album?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Look, nowadays everything's slow going, so, the record label's really pleased. Everybody that's heard it, I've been getting, great reviews from the fans, great reviews from the reviewers, and it's just, ultimately nowadays it's more about word of mouth and doing the big, $1 million videos and radio station promos and all that other kind of stuff. So, like I said, it's slow going, but everything's been super positive. So I'm cool, man. It's all good.
And let me ask you, like you're saying about videos, around the time the album was released, there was a video going around on YouTube for the song "If I Had a Dime," which I thought was pretty impressive because, like you said, a lot of bands aren't making videos these days, but it looked like a pretty professionally shot video. So, was there a lot that went into making that video?
No, to be honest with you, it was we did a gig in Michigan, and my bass player's brother came up with us, and he actually works as a videographer, editor, and stuff like that. So he's always got a video camera with him, whatever. He just had a little handheld camera, and he shot some video footage, and unbeknownst to us, he went home, he took it home, and he basically edited it all together.
Yeah,
gave us that video, and we were like, oh, okay, cool, awesome. Came out pretty good, man. It came out, let's just put it on YouTube. So we just threw it up on YouTube, and it's been getting, again, that's even been getting really good reviews. So, not reviews, but like feedback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what it's all about these days. And let me ask you, like in regards to the new album, one thing that really impressed me was, you got a little something new on there with the 5 new songs, and then for older fans, you got some of the reworked classic John Corabi songs from throughout your career. Now, one thing really impressed me was like Hooligan's Holiday. Even though people, when they hear initially before the album even came out, I started reading a lot of stuff on the internet. People say, Hooligan's Holiday acoustic. I can't imagine that, but you did a real cool. It's almost like a new version. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's really funny. Everybody's like, "How the hell did you come up with that?" In all actuality, the main riff in the acoustic version is kind of a bastardized version of the riff that Mick does in the electric version. So I just made that the forefront, the kind of forefront thing, and just build everything else around it, it took a little time to get it to that point. We started off, much rougher than where it is right now, but it wasn't very difficult at all, it was just a matter of going out and doing some acoustic shows and trying different things and seeing what worked and didn't, and we eventually came up with the version that we have now. So, and that's another one. It goes over great when I play it live, and so it's cool. I dig it. It's really kind of swampy and southern, and
almost blue.
Got a bit of a southern vibe to it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, almost kind of a heavy blues thing. You can even say that, but I really dug. That's one of the songs, and then I also dug the new version of Love Shine you did, because I always loved that song, but like on the original Motley album, I kind of thought it was almost like a quick song. It was only like a couple seconds long, and I really liked how you stretched it out, and you really gave it some new life.
Yeah, I mean, again, that one, we just kind of stripped it down, but the version that you hear on the acoustic record, I may have done it just a tad slower, but it's pretty much, I didn't really change much about that. It's really funny. There's something about the Motley version. Everybody thinks that I've lengthened the Unplugged version, and I didn't. It's pretty much the same format. It's just there's no drums, and I think I slowed it down just a little bit to make it more of a, so that the strumming on the acoustics would come across and all that other stuff. But basically the song is laid out exactly the same as the Motley record. But for some reason, everybody hears the Motley version and they think it just goes by in like a minute.
Yeah, that's
what I mean?
That's what it seems like, and it's weird, but people sometimes their ears play tricks on them. Now, talk about some of the new songs. Like, were these songs you had laying around, or did you write them specifically for this album? Like, I really, two of my favorites are like "Are You Waiting" and "Crash."
Well, to be honest with you, like a lot of the stuff, right now, like I'm getting ready to start working on some electric shit, and it's really funny. Like, I just found a dictaphone here in my house in a drawer, and like both sides of the thing are just completely full. But some of this stuff I've had sitting around for years, and songs that I thought that they were great songs, but were just never really given a fair shot. So like I play them electric, but I played them for my band, and I'm like, I think this one would kind of work on the acoustic record. What do you think? And so they said yes. And Crash was one of those. If I Had a Dime. Another one was If I Never Get to Say Goodbye. Somewhat new songs. But Are You Waiting? Really, to be honest with you, is probably about. It's got to be 23 years old.
Wow, that's amazing, and it still sounds like something really modern and like it could have been written today. That's
Well, it's funny because it's a song that I wrote even before the Scream. I had a band for a little while called Angora, and we did a demo, and we had Steve Vai play. Steve Vai actually produced the demo for us, and it was this song that was sitting there. We never released it. People heard the song and they're like, yeah, I don't know, I don't get it. It's okay, whatever. And it's just a song that I just always believed in. I always thought it was a great song. Well, I went on, I did the Scream, the Motley, the Union, Rat, like all this other stuff. And it was funny when we were putting stuff together for this acoustic record, I found an old demo of that song, and I sat and I listened to it, and I'm like, wow, you know what? That's one of them songs that I never did anything with. Nobody's ever heard it before. I still think it's a great song. I'm going to rework it up with the guys and see how it comes out. So I played it for the guys in the band, and they thought it was great. And then my guitar player, D.A., he just took it, and he's like, oh, man, we can put harmonies here, and we can do something here. And, and everybody just did their thing, and I think it came out great.
Yeah, like I always tell people, I got to be honest, John, you're one of my favorite singers and songwriters. I think you're a very underrated guy. And on that note, I'd like to ask you a little bit about your history now. You're originally from Philadelphia, isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now talk a little bit about like when you first came. I know when you were first starting out, like a lot of people, you came out here to LA. What was that like for you? I mean, was it everything that you expected it to be, and then some?
Well, I came out for a visit, from Philadelphia for my anniversary with my wife, and we had some friends that had been out to California prior, and they were like, dude, you got to see it out there, man. There's all these great bands playing, and at the time, it was like, actually Johnny B, who plays drums for Doro and Britney Fox. And
okay, yeah.
He went out first.
Okay.
And he was like, dude, I saw this amazing band playing at like Guitarist called Rat. They just came out with a new record. And he was telling me about it, so we just started saving, and we came out for a visit, and I think I came out like 83 or 84 just for a visit. And I was walking up and down Sunset Strip going, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. This is amazing. Like, there was tons of original bands and, obviously big hair and leather jackets and just, the Rainbow Room and, like, just so much to offer, like, early. I told my guys in my band, I go, I'm moving to California. If you want to come, come. You know, if not, I'm going. And we all came out one by one. And over the course of the next year, and we moved out to LA, and it was cool, man. We had a great time. You know, that band Angora, like we came out, we actually wound up doing pretty well in the club thing. But unfortunately, the partying and shit started getting out of control, and you know what I mean? Everybody kind of fell along the wayside, and I went on to do the Scream, and the rest, they say, is history.
Yeah, and then, like you said, the next big thing you did would have been the Scream, but a lot of people like myself weren't even aware of the Scream until after you joined Motley. So what was that experience like, you know, getting this band like the Scream that, you know, had a lot of potential, and then you get the big offer to join Motley Crue? Was that a hard decision to make as far as leaving the Scream?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, at that point, like the Scream was really starting to pick up steam. We had gone over to Europe. We did a show in London, England. We did one show, and it was completely sold out. We were getting unbelievable press. We had the great fortune of working with a guy like Eddie Kramer. You know, and it was just cool, man. It was very cool. So when I got the offer to do Motley, man, it was you know, I had spent the last 2 years of my life in a rehearsal garage, you know, writing and recording and cutting my teeth with these 3 other guys. We were all like super tight, you know, friends, and it was weird. It was hard for me to leave that, you know what I mean? But at the same time, even though those guys were like, dude, this is the biggest opportunity you'll ever get in your life. At that point, Motley just came off the Feel Good record. You know, I think they did a greatest hits thing. Decade of Decadence was just kind of a greatest hits, but yeah. Their last studio record was Feel Good.
And you know, I remember the first.
They were huge.
Yeah. Wow. And let me ask you, when you heard Motley was auditioning singers and they'd gotten rid of Vince, how did you find out about, you know, that? And did you ever have any reservations before you even got the audition to even go down and try it?
Well, you know, I mean, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You don't ever want to walk into a room and make an asshole out of yourself. My biggest concern, you know, was that I really wasn't. I mean, I knew of the Motley stuff that I saw on MTV, like Feel Good and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I couldn't actually say that I owned a Motley record, so I wasn't like a
huge fan. Yeah.
Basically, I was more into the 70s rock and, you know, all that other kind of shit. So, I was kind of concerned going to audition for this band that I didn't really know much of their material, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
So I guess
that was a concern.
I guess what I was asking too, like when you first decided that you were going to try to audition for the band, did you have any nerves about replacing you know, a lead singer of such a well-known band, some guy who was loved by so many people, you know?
Yeah.
But
it was weird. It was a little odd, you know. But you know what? Honestly, those guys made me feel very comfortable right out of the gate, so it was cool.
And the reason I bring this up, John, like I said, I like a lot of people first became aware of you because of that Motley Crue album that you did. And the interesting thing is, like, I was a huge Motley fan, but unlike a lot of people, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this fair listen when they come out with their new album. I'm gonna give it a listen, and okay, you didn't sound like Vince Neil, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because to me, you brought something more to the band. You know, for the first time they had a second guitar player. You added to the writing and the sound of the band. So, you know, I thought, you know, this guy's a pretty decent singer in his own right. And so talk a little bit about that, like when you first joined the band and the album was released, because there was a bit of a buzz at first, and then kind of died down. What was that like? You know, when you first joined?
Well, I mean, when I first joined, we didn't say anything to anybody about who the singer was for about 7 months. And I understood their reasoning for that. They just wanted to make sure that I was, normal, and I wasn't any of the things that they had just gotten away from with Vince. Those guys used to bitch and complain about Vince constantly, so they just wanted to make sure that I was, a bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of did the bro thing. We hung out. We took bike trips. We all had Harleys, so we would take bike trips, and then we'd spend 4 or 5 days a week in the studio just writing, recording, hanging out with each other and just making sure we all got along, because they didn't want to get into another ugly situation again. And, so it was cool. Like I said, they made me feel at home, and then writing with them was easy.
Yeah,
the rule was no rules. It was like everybody, if anybody had an idea or an opinion or something, we heard the opinion, we tried the ideas, we tried everything. Regardless of how silly or trivial it seemed, we tried it. And it was very easy working on that material with them.
And it seemed like you and Nikki especially had a great chemistry songwriting-wise, but, talking a little bit about the songwriting, would most time, Mick and Nikki come in with the initial riffs, and then you guys would all get together and work on the lyrics? Is that how it would work, pretty much?
No, not necessarily. It was weird. I had the riff for Hammered. They had, I don't know who came up with the initial acoustic guitar part for Misunderstood, but they already had that when I came down and jammed with them, the acoustic part.
Okay, yeah. Well,
they didn't really have a melody. So I just kind of sang a melody over their acoustic part, and then we all got together and we jammed. And it was weird. Tommy came up with the riff for Smoke the Sky, and then we all jammed it together. Okay. Nikki came up with the riff for Death to His Part, that weird
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just easy. We all just sat in a circle, and we all had chairs and our amps in the room, and I faced Tommy, Nikki faced Mick, and we just all kind of came up with shit together. It was really easy. I can't explain it.
I got you. So, let me ask you, so that was back in the days when you guys actually were still in a recording studio together and kind of recorded as a live band. That must have been a great feeling, being able to, still do it like that. Because I kind of miss the days, when albums were recorded like that. Because to me, when a band's all in the same room recording, there's more of a raw energy. Would you agree?
Yeah, and that's, to be honest with you, we did all the rhythm tracks. We did all of Tommy's drum tracks. When he laid down the drums, we were all in the room playing along with him. Okay,
cool.
And then we overdubbed, if a guitar part, we might go back and listen to it, I don't really like the tone there, so we redo the guitar, but everything was cut at the same time. And then we went in and we did overdubs and, vocals and backing vocals and orchestras and shit like that. But when Tommy was cutting his drums, we were all in the room with him, recording that shit.
Okay, great. And now let me ask you, John, you brought up the song Misunderstood, which was another song off that album that I really love. But, and interestingly enough, Glenn Hughes made a guest appearance on that album. Do you remember how he came to play on that song?
Yeah, Glenn had come to rehearsal a few times. Tommy and Mickey knew Glenn, I guess, through, whatever, rehab shit, whatever their deal was. And so Glenn would come by every now and then, and I was just freaking out. Like I told you, I'm a 70s guy, so, I know I've got probably on my iPod, I probably have about 30 Deep Purple records, studio records, live records, bootleg records, so when Glenn came in, I was completely enamored, I'm like, holy shit, that's Glenn Hughes, the voice and the bass player, and so, we went up, we started the record in Vancouver, and then when we came back to LA to finish it up, Glenn just came by the studio one day, and we had Misunderstood
Okay.
And that's what we got out of them.
Okay, and another thing about that time in that period of Motley Crue is I've read interviews that Mick Mars have done where he said he really loved having a second guitar player in the band. So I was curious, did you at all play any of the guitar on the album, or did you just play live?
No, I played on every song on the record.
Oh, okay. And you kind of just did the rhythm, or how did you guys, and he did the leads? Is that how that worked out pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. Like, we both did rhythms. We did all of the leads. But there's parts on the record, like some of the, I call them the icing parts or whatever, like, there's some, if you listen to Hooligan's Holiday, there's, in the middle section where Nick does the solo, it does that chunky
yeah.
And then there's a swampy guitar that does it's like a pull-off. Like while he's doing the solos. Like I did all like the kind of weird sounding guitars.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So like Drift Away, on Drift Away, I played the acoustics. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's been so long, but I played on every song on the record.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then when we did live, I just had to learn, like, I had to, me and Nick sat down and figured out what parts I would play to complement what part he was playing live.
Okay.
Even for the old stuff.
Okay, and then the last Motley question I kind of wanted to ask was, you did the one album, and then there was the EP, and then I know right before they did Generation Swine, and Vince came back, that you guys had been recording some material that to this date remains unreleased. Would you ever be able to re-record any of those songs yourself and put them out, or is that stuff all that is owned by Motley?
No, I mean, if I wrote it, like, every song was recorded by Motley when I was in the band. That I co-wrote. I can go out, like, I can actually, one of the songs that I'd like to redo is a song that it wound up being on the Generation Swine record, but it wound up being a song called Flush.
Okay.
But that's the original version of it called Kiss the Sky.
Okay, wow.
Okay. And that one I thought their version was cool, but it wasn't quite what I initially heard when we wrote the song. So I would like to just take that and redo it and just have some fun with it.
Okay, and then next thing I'd like to talk a little bit about was another band I love that you did right after that was Union with Bruce Kulick. Of course, you guys put out 2 great albums and a live EP. You guys and you guys are still working together. It seems like you and Bruce had a really great chemistry. You want to talk about how you guys first got together?
Well, I met Bruce through Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Bruce and Mickey were very good friends, and we would have barbecues or birthday parties or whatever, and we'd all hang out with each other. So it was really funny when the Motley thing went down. When the Motley thing did go down, Mickey actually called Bruce and said, you and Corabi should get together. You guys probably would write some really cool stuff together. You have a lot of the same influences. So why wouldn't you try this? So, we talked to each other, and it was weird because we were running parallel with each other at that time. Like, we both lost, huge gigs. In the process of losing the gigs, we lost quite a few friends, girlfriends, wives, like all this other stuff. So Bruce and I were, in a lot of ways, we were on the very same page. So it was pretty easy for us to get into a room and start, venting, if you will, musically. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I know you and him occasionally do like live acoustic shows, like in Australia and other parts of the world. Have you guys ever thought about like putting out a DVD or something of one of those shows, or even a live CD?
Of what?
Like I know, like last year you and Bruce did a couple. I forget what it was like in Australia or some other country. You guys were doing some like an acoustic show, just you and him. You know, and I know you guys do the Eric Singer project from time to time.
Yeah, we're actually leaving. We're leaving. I think I'm leaving like next Thursday or Friday. Whenever the 25th, I'm leaving to go over to Europe with Bruce and Chuck.
Oh, okay, wow. And so, you know, you're doing a little bit of everything, and of course, I'd like to ask you, you know, do you think there'll ever be another union, even just a reunion, you know, where you guys do a couple shows, or
We've talked about it, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's, you know, right now I'm just trying to get my thing off the ground.
Yeah.
And Brent's doing Slash. Bruce is still doing the Grand Funk thing, and Bruce is always working.
And yeah.
Jamie, the bass player, is actually just got done doing a run with Roger Daltrey in Japan.
Oh, cool.
So we've all been really stupidly busy. But, you know, we've all talked about possibly doing, you know, maybe not a record or something like that, but just go out and play. When we have a couple weeks off, let's get together, rehearse, work up some of the old stuff, and just get out and play. And just see what happens.
Yeah, I love the live DVD thing you guys did, and it's kind of interesting that the drummer, you know, he's the one that seems to have made it the biggest. Like you said, he's playing with Slash right now, so that's great for everybody. But you know, getting back to your you know, after you guys did that, you were in RatPak for a couple of years, and I was kind of wanting to ask you about that because I was curious if you know, you've been known pretty much as a singer throughout your whole career, and when you decided to join Rat, was it more of you just needing a steady paid gig, or did you kind of want to not do any singing for a while?
I just, you know, to be honest with you, like after doing the screen, doing Motley, doing, you know, Union, I wanted to take a break from the business part of it, where you're sitting here worried about how many records you've sold, and how many tickets were sold, and how many T-shirts were sold, and, you know, all the business that goes along with touring and all that other stuff. The thing with Rat, it allowed me to still continue to play music, but not worry about all the shit that comes along with being, you know, the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It allowed me to just go and play music and get a paycheck on Fridays.
Okay.
It was actually, for a while, it was quite refreshing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's an interesting thing, me being such a huge fan of yours, for example. I thought, you know, it's kind of I could understand a guy needing a paying gig, maybe, but it's kind of a shame that a guy that's got that much talent would, you know, want to be a sideman, and that's part of the reason I'm glad you put the acoustic album out, to kind of remind people that, yeah, John Corabi's still out there, that I still got, you know, I'm still able to do all this. And that's the other thing, like I said, when I introduced you at the beginning of the interview, I was saying, you know, we're talking with John Corabi, singer, songwriter, guitar player. I was kind of interested, John, of the three, which you feel the most accomplished? Because, like I said, you're quite capable of all three, but I think anybody to have any kind of success, it's got to be about, you got to have talent, obviously, a little bit of luck, and you got to have the songs. And interesting thing is, if we're talking about Motley Crue, Union, or even the new solo album, you've always been, you know, had the ability to write great songs. You know, how young were you when you first started writing songs? I'd like to ask you.
God, probably 15.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is, like, I put you right up there with the guys I consider great songwriters, like Pete Townsend, Nikki Sixx, you know, Steven Tyler, and like I said, you know, you're the type of guy that you can write a love ballad, you can sing a great ballad, you can, you know, sing a song like Hooligan's Holiday or Power to the Music, you know. Where do you find your inspiration, like, when you write these songs? Do they necessarily come from life experiences or things you read something in the newspaper?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's life, you know. A couple of the love songs were obviously written about different girls that I've dated or been married to, and, you know, I have a song called Shine that is written about what was happening. I wrote that when I was in Union.
Yeah.
That was very much about what happened at the Columbine thing. You know, Uncle Jack is about my uncle that molested my brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So it's just life, man. Things that I see, things that I do. Right now, I'm working on for lack of a better term, I'm working on a song right now called "Spinning in the Wind."
Okay.
Or it's either going to be spinning in the wind or pissing in the wind.
Wow. Either.
And it's somewhat political.
Yeah.
It's basically about the frustrations of not just me, and not just Democrats, not just Republicans, just I think people in general that are our politicians and bankers and insurance companies and FDA and the drug people and pharmaceuticals and all these people that basically have all of us by the balls.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
They give you this bullshit that they want to help you, but in actuality, everybody's out for a buck, and it's just a bunch of loose talk. So my song says, you pull me in and feed me all your, it's like you pull me in, feed me all your bullshit.
Yeah.
But every lie you say, every lie you tell, it's like you're pissing in the wind. You know what I mean? Every lie you tell, you're pissing in the wind. It's going to come back and blow on. It's going to come back at you at some point. So.
Okay, and let me ask you. I only got a couple more questions, and I'll let you go. You said you're working on new music now for the next album. Do you think the next album you expect it to come out 2013, 2014? What's the expectation date?
Honestly, I think, my whole thing is I sometimes get in my own way sometimes, but honestly, I'm not a person. I don't like putting time frames on anything. I just want to put out a good product. So at the end of the day, all I can say is I'm working on it right now. I'm starting to, I've got a bunch of ideas, and I'm writing songs for different friends, some of the guys in my band, some outside writers, and I'm putting together, I want to put together just a really cool record. I'm not even sure at this point, like my record label was like, you don't have to do like a whole record anymore. Like a lot of people are doing like EPs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So if I need like 5 or 6 songs, but I just want a great sounding album. So, we'll see. I don't see a reason why I wouldn't be able to have something ready, in 3-4 months.
Oh, that's yeah.
Ready to go out the door. But if I'm also one of these people. When I finish a recording, I'll sit down and listen to it for a while, and then I'll walk away from it, and then I'll come back and listen to it. And if it sounds the second time as good as it did the first time, then I think I'm okay with it. I'll put it out. I just want to make sure that whatever, and I think that's the one thing about me, without blowing smoke up my own ass, if anybody looks at my entire catalog of music that I've done, that I've sat down and written with any of the bands that I've been in, or my solo shit, whatever, like, the one thing I can say is that I think that I've delivered a good product every time.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from a fan perspective, that's what I was going to say is, you're a guy, John, that always seems to deliver the goods. And interesting enough, like if you look at even the new acoustic record, look how long that took you from, it took you probably at least 4 or 5 years till it, got released, and yet everything on it is great. Like you said, you've been getting great reviews, and you've been going.
And it's weird because, in all honesty, dude, like it didn't really take me that long to record it.
Yeah.
What I did is when I got out of Rat, I left Rat and I decided I was going to do a solo record, and it took me a while to find the right guys, and that's even a chore. Like being able to find the right guys, finding the right manager, finding the right people to put around you. You know what I mean? Because you're right. It's not just about a song. It's about the song. It's about the delivery of the song. It's about what the band looks like. It's about you're only as strong as your weakest link, so you gotta have, so it's like I've been putting all this other stuff together, or trying to get all this other stuff together over the last 3 or 4 years. And then I did a record, I did the acoustic record, and I did it here with a guy in town. It was, you know, he was going to record it, and we were going to do something, but we could never come to terms as far as, like, the actual, you know, the business part. Like, okay, well, I'll do a record for you, but what do you want? Like, what do you want out of it? You know, and I had it recorded. It was done.
Okay.
And I kept asking him for a contract, and he just never gave me one. So I finally, you know, we were going back and forth, and we couldn't come up with an idea. So, to be honest with you, I just walked away from pretty much the exact same record. But I went back into my living room. I made a studio in my house, and I literally recorded the record that you have in your hand. I started it on a Monday. I finished it. I started it Monday morning at 9 a.m., and I was finished recording the entire record Sunday at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
Wow. And
so I did the birthday in a week.
Yeah, you know,
so it didn't really take long. It was just getting all the bullshit and the business together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and even like, I imagine when you're on tour now, you know, you're playing stuff from all throughout your career. Which, interestingly enough, like, you know, if you play something from Motley, the Scream, Union, it seems to all fit, and it seems to all be just as relevant today as when it was, you know, originally released, you know. And two, I wanted to just tell you the last thing is two songs I really enjoyed that you've done. They're little oddities, but like you did a cover these two Rod Stewart songs, Maggie May and Gasoline Alley. You know, that was right before Union was coming out, and you know, you got the ability, like when you're doing cover stuff too, to just, you know, make it your own and sound really great. And so I commend you on that, John. And the last thing I want to ask a little about, I know you're, like you said, spent a huge portion of your career in LA, but now you're in Nashville, and I understand Nashville's becoming a major music city. What's it like living there these days?
Well, you got the Nashville thing? I didn't hear the last part.
Oh, I was saying, I know you've been living in Nashville for a few years now, and that's becoming a huge music city where, like, even Tom Kiefer and a lot of other rock guys are going to. What's it like living there these days?
I mean, for me, the only thing that's really changed from the time that I moved here about 6 years ago, and, you know, like when I first moved here, I lived in an area called Hermitage, which is a kind of east of Nashville, a little bit out in the country, and, you know, I met a great girl, and I live right in Nashville proper now. She owns a hair salon, and, you know, whatever, and that's it. I mean, like, the city itself is fucking great. I love it here. There's a great music scene here, and it's not just cowboy hats and boots and, you know, whatever. I mean, there's a rock scene here. There's a blues scene here. There's a country scene, obviously. There's an acoustic scene. You know, if you think about all the bands that are here, you know, you've got all your country guys, but you've also got bands like, you know, Kings of Leon, Black Keys.
Yeah.
Jack White was here. Cinderella was here.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Plant was. He's got one place here. I know he lives in Austin as well, but he's got a place here. It was fucking 5 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
so
wow.
It's definitely a cool town, man. This area that I live in, it's called East Nashville. It's very bohemian. Kind of reminiscent a little bit. I don't know where you're at in California.
I'm in Los Angeles, you know. I live in Long Beach. That's why I'm.
Kind of picture, you know, if you like the Silver Lake area. You know what I mean? It's like all those like kind of like privately owned, cool little hip restaurants, and there's a bunch of like painters and artists and clothing designers and, you know, whatever. It's a mixture of everything. So it's really cool here. I dig it.
Okay, and I could talk to you all day, but I'm gonna let you go. Before I do, I just want to ask you. I know you wrote a few chapters in the Motley Crue book, The Dirt. I was just curious. A lot of rock guys are putting out these autobiographies. Do you have any interest in doing that?
Well, I made the mistake of telling everybody I was going to do one about 5 years ago, and then there was this incredible influx of like biographies after biography after biography, and then I kind of sat down and I went, well, you know, I haven't had as much success as that guy or this guy want to read this book, or I mean, but you know, there's people out there that ask me about it all the time. So I'm actually in the process of I'm gonna start working on it again. Like I'm the slowest typer on earth, so my girlfriend made a suggestion. She goes, you should just get one of those dragon things that you talk into it.
Yeah.
And it just prints everything on the computer for you.
Yeah.
So,
kind of the next one I'm looking forward to, it comes out in May, is Stephen Piercy. I'm kind of interested in reading that. But anyways, John, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And like I said, I could talk to you for all day, but I know you're busy. So this is probably going to go up in our, this is for an online thing. It's probably going to go in our May issue. I'll be sure to let Joe know once I know that for sure. And please keep my contact in, because I'd love to do this again anytime you have anything to promote.
Absolutely, man.
Okay, have a great day. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.